Welcome to DFS Insights, where the match behind the match comes to life. I am David Geislinger, and alongside me is David Grant Jr., my cousin and co-strategist. And the event up on the block is UFC Fight Night, Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov.
With your lineup success as our top priority, this is where David and I will go over what fight matchups we think you should be considering in order to put yourself in the best position to be at the top of the leaderboard at the end of the night. We're going to break down the strategy behind our picks and share our insights to help enhance your lineup construction. So, yeah, this is a awesome fight night card coming up. We got Umar Nurmagomedov, Khabib's cousin, taking on. He's ranked number 10 currently in the bantamweights. Going to be taking on Corey Sandhagen. He's been ranked in the top 5 for about the last 4 or 5 years now, and he's currently ranked number 2. Umar has come out and said that this is a number 1 contenders match, and will be fighting the winner of Sean O'Malley and Rafael Fiziev, which will be coming up at the Sphere here pretty soon. So, yeah, man, I'm super excited. This is going to be a great matchup. It'll be, Umar's first test, fighting a ranked opponent. He seems to have a hard time getting people that want to fight him because they know that, they're probably going to lose, as he is a lot like Khabib, taking people down with the ground and pound and everything. Yeah, you excited for this fight night coming up?
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I got some, got the data's looking pretty good on the side here. So, yeah, Nurmagomedov. I'm curious to see. I mean, I don't really have, I guess, a question because he does train, with Khabib and things like that. But I believe this is also his first 5-round fight. When it gets up there into those championship rounds, Sandhagen's been there, done that. I believe he's, fought for the title 4 times now. I mean, doesn't have the best record there when it comes to that. I think 3 losses of the 4. So yeah. So if you want to, let's go ahead and get over here to the cheat sheet and start breaking it down for everybody. But before we do, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. As we're going to dive in here, we're doing a little bit different. Instead of breaking down 3 fights, we're just going to expand on that cheat sheet from the first insights here, and go over the whole card here. So go ahead, Dave, start it off. What fights you liking, and
Yeah. I'll just expand a little bit. So, I think this main event, I think whoever wins is going to score extremely high. I do see this most likely going to a decision. So if we're getting 5 rounds, out of either one of these guys, they both, when they win, score extremely high. You're giving Umar an extra 2 rounds to do work, and get more takedowns and that massive control time that he gets. Um, an interesting thing I found when doing research today, he's over his in his 5 fights in the UFC, he's averaged being a minus 860 favorite over everyone that he's faced. Now, again, none of them are ranked opponents. One of his fights, he was actually a minus 1200 favorite, which was pretty crazy. He's currently, at minus 325, which to me is pretty. That Corey Sandhagen is a plus 250. I think that's pretty disrespectful to Corey Sandhagen personally. As you mentioned, Corey's been there, done that. He's been in like 8 5-round fights. At least it feels like that. So I'll be targeting, both sides of that for sure. Because I mean, Corey Sandhagen at 7,000, even according, to the math, is going to be one of the higher owned people here on the cheat sheet. 30, an estimated 31% ownership. So it's not necessarily a great leverage play, since it seems like a lot of other people probably are thinking the same thing that the math says and that we are. What are your thoughts on kind of the spread there, as far as like who you think
Yeah,
is
I think
being a favorite?
targeting that one. Obviously, I'm going to have that fight. It is the 5 round, and Nurmagomedov with those takedowns. Like even in a loss, a higher round loss. If he did Nurmagomedov, he could still get enough points at 9,200. Obviously, he kind of needs to win. Sandhagen, yeah, just the leverage I don't know is there. His ownership's pretty high, but at 7K, even if he didn't throw the volume and got the W in a decision, but looking down here, kind of just quickly go over, for the new people here, go over this little cheat sheet. Obviously, got the name, salary. We got win odds. We convert the odds, Vegas odds into probability because it's a little bit easier to understand. Most people understand percentage. So we got win probability inside the distance, ITD, and round one probability, and then our leverage, a number calculated, basically leverage, and that's formula basically taking inside the distance or whatever the probability and the ownership, and getting that leverage there. So with that, looking at it, they're not looking too good. This is 13 fights, cards. So I'm gonna be focusing a lot on, the inside the distance leverage and the round one leverage, and they're not the highest. They're actually kind of the lowest, at least for the round one finish, leverage plays, and they're about middle of the field for the inside the distance. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to be at like 20% ownership, but at Nurmagomedov at 48, I might be 35 to 40, just because
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the 100K by myself, or at least with maybe one, two other people.
Yeah.
And if I just go straight, all the high ownerships, I'm not really gaining anything. Now, obviously, there is a chance that would win, but you know, I'm basically when the chalk fails, that's when I typically do good because I base it on those high leverages. So, yeah, I like the fight.
Yeah.
So my other kind of key ones to keep it moving on here. Looking at just basically looking at this, the inside the distance round one. The co-main event, the Magomedov, not to be confused with Nurmagomedov. We'll just call him the bullet for now, and Michael O. There, I'll butcher that. So bullets coming in, over 54, 50% inside the distance chance, and over a 31% chance probability to end it in the first round. So that's pretty good leverage. I mean, he is going to be highly owned as well, 36.5%. So it's not too much leverage, but at 9K, if he does get that first round finished, that's really nice there. One I'm really going to be looking into and got to do more research is this Tony Ferguson, coming in at single digits ownerships. Yeah, I know he's like, basically kind of walking out, and Chiesa is basically, and he's a beast mode. So Vegas, a minus 599. I think that's actually the highest right now for the card. Our math, however, has Ferguson winning. And at low ownership, 4.2. I might be slightly higher, just in case. Might be about 7 to 10% potential ownership, just in case he wins it, because his coming in at higher probability in the first round, even at the 5.9%, is still a greater chance that he'll be owned. So those are just a few. Let's go ahead and who you looking at here?
I mean, just to expand a little bit on the Tony Ferguson play, I definitely like that play too. Tony Ferguson and Michael Chiesa are both winners of the Ultimate Fighter, and it's kind of interesting because Chiesa won the Ultimate Fighter at 155 pounds, and Tony Ferguson actually won the Ultimate Fighter at 170 pounds, and then Tony ended up becoming a 155er, and Chiesa moved up to be 170. This fight has taken place at 170. So while people might think Tony Ferguson has not fought at 170, he actually has. He won 4 fights on the Ultimate Fighter and was the 170 champion. So this isn't anything new. Tony's 40 years old now, and I think that he is going to be a great play for sure. So like you, I'll probably I'll probably be around 10 to 15% ownership on him, probably doubling up what it's expected.
Yeah.
To keep things moving, one of my favorite plays is you know, Reek Dumas. He's a minus 225 favorite. He's fighting at middleweight. He'll be going against Dennis Tululin. Uh, I watched tape on him and Tululin. I'll put it this way, man. Dennis Tululin, he's been the underdog in every fight of his UFC career. He's 1-4. Uh, no fight has gotten out of the second round. He has been finished in the first round twice. He's been finished by knockout twice and been sub twice. His lone win in the UFC was a first round knockout. He's coming off, three losses in a row, obviously all being finished. Dumas is 2-2 in the UFC. He has one loss via sub and one KO. Even though he's both his wins are via decision, he just looks great. And from what I've seen on the tape, looks like he's going to be finishing Tululin in the first or second round. So that's probably one of my favorite plays here on the slate as far as a guy that's under 9K. Well, I guess he's 8,900. That's basic.
Yeah.
In that upper echelon range, and under 30% ownership. I like
Yeah,
that
I'd
play
say
a lot.
at that low 20s ownership, 26 and 22. Like you said, I'll probably be more closer on Dumas, and I'll be probably I'd say maybe closer to 10% or so, 10-15% on Tululin. I'll see how the lineup construction pans out there. But just moving up even to the fight right after that, the Bedoya versus Herbert. Herbert's coming in as the Vegas favorite. Our math has Bedoya, keeping in mind the yellow highlighted names. They have less than 3 fights, so the math is a little skewed there. But I believe Bedoya is at 3 fights, so if I'm not mistaken there. But it's kind of odd that, actually, I think he's probably going to be the most popular underdog there, coming in at 35% basically. Its average ownership is about 35%. So, not too much, to kind of gain there. So I'll be kind of maybe potentially looking for another sub 8K player, or star to kind of set myself apart. Looking like even Mays. It is a heavyweight fight, so there's potential to be a knockout there. Our math is basically stating that he's basically the better pick than what Vegas is saying that he is. His ownership will be in the teens, so that's always good to look for there as well. So this card's looking pretty good. Potentials for a lot of the underdogs coming in. Our math has been fairly accurate. In the range of, including the fighters with the yellow names, about 60-65%. But when you remove those yellow fighters, we're closer to that 75-80% range, which is pretty good. So I'm definitely trusting Matt there. I'll probably be looking more. Probably might be avoiding this Dern Lupe fight there. Even though our math is saying the underdog Lupe is basically the favorite there. It's just I don't see the leverage enough unless they happen to get. I have a feeling that might go to decision, and I'm not really gaining too much as they are at the 8,000, 8,200 range. So like if Lupe was at 7,200 or something, that might be a good play because her ownership is 14. But it's just I'm probably sound bad, but women's typically go to decision, and they're going to be lower owned.
Yeah,
But
it's unpredictable.
yeah, it's very unpredictable. But on the flip side of that, looking down here at Victoria Dudikova, her odds there, inside the distance is at 55.5%. So that might be a good play at 8,500. So if she could actually get that inside the distance finish, that would set her apart because, like I mentioned before, women's MMA typically people don't do it because, as you said, it's so unpredictable. So I'll be expecting 17% will probably be where it's at. So I will have some ownership in that one.
Yeah, I like Victoria Duvadova a lot as well. She's from Dana White's Contender Series from August 2022. She won that via decision, but she dominated basically all 3 rounds. She has a great ground game. She basically she's a decent striker that's looking to get the fight to the ground. I always love grapplers. Um, you know, as far as the other side of that with Sam Hughes, she's coming off she's on a 3 fight losing streak. Most of her fights go to decision, and the 2 fights that she's won, she usually looks for the takedown to get the win, and she doesn't want to be on the ground with Duvadova. So, yeah, I like the Victoria play a lot. I feel good after watching the tape on her, and I could see her getting a finish. And if she does, she'll most likely, be able to be in that optimal lineup with the type of with the ground control time, her striking, and the takedown. So
Nice.
I like that play a lot at the hopefully sub 20% ownership for sure.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, before we end it here, we're gonna give you our top, three, or top three plays. I want to, do my top three leverage plays I'm going to be looking at based on my rating. I have my own little formula that I calculate out here to give me basically the ratings of each fighter. And so, before we do that, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. Help us with that YouTube algorithm. You know how it is. Everything, like, subscribe. That's all free, and it does help us out quite a bit. Get us put out in front of more people. So with that, I'll just go ahead and say my top three favorite leverage plays in order will be Herbert. Even though I'm going to be looking at that, and Mass is predicting Bedoya, I like the Herbert just because he is. Vegas does have him coming in as a 58% favorite, and he's only going to be 11% owned. So just over that, and he has a 13% chance for a round one finish. So he's still better chance to finish in the first round than he is ownership. So I'll be looking at him. Next up is Victoria Dudikovic as my second. Same basic reasons there. And then third up on the list would be Kau Fernandez would be my top three.
Top three. Nice. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give you guys out there just the top 3 fights I think are gonna end in a finish. Because we all know that you need to get the fighters that are going to score the highest points. While they might be possibly chalky and whatnot, nonetheless, some of them you still are going to need. They hit, and you know that they're going to be optimal. So I like Joel Alvarez at the -170 at 8,300. He's a big 6'3" for the lightweight division. He's a big cut dude for the lightweight division. None of his fights have gone past the second round. He has 3 first-round finishes, 2 via submission, and one via knockout. His only loss is to Sarukian, who's a beast. So I like Joel Alvarez. I would target that fight in general. Elves Brenner. I just don't see that fight. That fight's not going the distance. I'll have exposure on both sides. I like as I mentioned, the Sadiq's Dumas, the middleweight at 8,900. And I know Bedoya is probably going to be pretty chalky. He used to fight at 170. He's going down to 155. And then Jay Herbert's really a 145er, and he's going up to 155. So I just think Bedoya is going to be too big and too strong for Jay Herbert. After watching tape on them all day today. So, I like Bedoya to get the finish. And yeah, so I got Bedoya, Dumas, and Joel Alvarez all basically getting the job done here.
Nice, nice. All right, so yeah, with that, let us know what you think down in the comments, and also drop if you want us to, give some more information on a fighter that we didn't cover too much of. Let us know in there, and we'll go ahead and follow up with all the information that we do know. So yeah, with that, this is DFS Insights giving you that, breakdown here for UFC. Keeping in mind that here in, I believe, about 6 weeks now, 5 to 6 weeks. Football season starting up, so we'll be going head first into there, and we typically will be covering or typically covered single FanDuel single games in the past, but this season we're going to be doing the main slate over here for DraftKings, and then also FanDuel single games. We'll work out that schedule, but just make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can follow it and not miss any of the future content. So with that, good luck. Hope to see you up on that leaderboard. David?
Yep. Good luck to everybody out there. We're also going to be dropping a series pretty soon, just on specifically just on roster construction, how to use leverage to make the best choices with your lineups and things of that nature. So that'll be coming out here pretty soon. Good luck to everybody out there. I'm super hyped for this card on Saturday. The main event's going to be great. It's on ABC, so I'm sure that's why this card is amazing for being a free card. So good luck to everyone out there. Hope to see you guys at the top of the leaderboard.